youth would find what to do in the processes in agriculture, in the processing, in the distribution, in technology there, and the innovations that are possible in agriculture.
Pata taarifa teke na e-paper. Stay in the know on the go. Getting the full story bilangori. To sign up, choose your preferred subscription. Use the promo code SUBZ22 to get 20% off and pay. Get your favorite newspaper and enjoy the truth anywhere, anytime. For inquiries, email epaper@ke.nationmedia.com or call 0790 111 111. Subscribe today and get your taarifa teke.
Alex ameshaongea na nadhani kila mtu amemsikia na kumuelewa.
Hebu toka Alex. Dana kama utaki shida na watu. Ondoka Alex.
This you have no right.
Wataka kunigonga? Nimekuuliza swali.
Mimi nitampiga na niongelesha vibaya.
Sijalewa.
Kujelewa vipi na hii ni pombe na unanuka pombe, mbona unakana?
Nyinyi hamtaniua na pressure. Kwani kila siku ni nyinyi tu?
Buda, unaonaje hii moti? Buda iko fiti mbaya. Lakini si ulisema uwezi nunua dinga before ujenge. Sasa utaipark wapi?
Nitaipark huku tu, nishanunua plot, naanza kujenga.
Wa? Buda, hebu nichanue.
Welcome to the Delight Nakuru, brought to you by Username Investments. Perfect for your dream home, investment for holiday home, going only for 799,000 shillings for 1/8 of an acre. There's borehole water, estate gate, graded access roads, electricity and proximity to modern high-end schools, hospitals and other social amenities. SMS Nakuru to 20321 or call 0725 000 222.
It's Friday and things are looking a bit boring. Fanta. Submit to the fizziest of fizz. Surrender to a bubbly bliss. Fall for the tangiest of tangs. Succumb to the flavor frenzy. Fanta. Indulge with a sip and snack.
This is NTV.
Mtazamaji, ni saa 7 majira haya Afrika Mashariki, kokote ambako natazama NTV. Mie Frederick Mwitiriri na kukaribisha kwa moyo mkunjufu. Ungana nami tukisoma taarifa zetu za NTV ya dhuhuri kutoka sasa hadi mwendo wa saa 7:30 hivi. Tuanze. Takriban wagonjwa 19 waliolazwa katika hospitali ya Nakuru War Memorial wamehamishwa kuelekea vituo vingine au kuruhusiwa kwenda nyumbani baada ya maafisa wa serikali ya kaunti ya Nakuru kudaiwa kuvamia kituo hicho saa 9:30 kuamkia Jumanne, kuwafukuza wauguzi na kuwahamisha wagonjwa waliolazwa humo kuelekea hospitali ya Nakuru Annex. Aidha, mapema alfajiri kizaazaa kilishuhudiwa kwa takriban dakika 30 baada ya naibu msajili wa mahakama ya Nakuru Priska Nyota kuzuiliwa kuingia kukagua kituo hicho licha ya kuwa na amri ya mahakama iliyomtaka kubaini hali ya hospitali hiyo kufuatia madai kwamba uvamizi na uharibifu wa mali ulitokea jana usiku. Nyota aliruhusiwa baadaye kuingia kituo hicho ambacho sasa kimesalia mahame kufuatia hatua hiyo. Wauguzi wachache walikuwa wamebaki kusaidia wagonjwa waliokuwa wanaruhusiwa kwenda nyumbani, pamoja na mgonjwa mmoja aliyelazwa katika kitengo cha wagonjwa mahututi. Mawakili wa War Memorial wameelezea kuwa wataishtaki serikali ya kaunti ya Nakuru kwa kukiuka amri za mahakama.
The county government trust in the judicial system. Then why did they take or instigate the directors to be charged in the court of law? And it is the same court which are issuing orders which they are blatantly disobeying, but at the same time, they want justice from those courts. I think it's a total contradiction. So we are now headed back to court so that the deputy registrar can file her report. She has seen what is happening, and then we can take the case to the next level.
Just come from seeing a patient from ICU. We were trying to organize how an ambulance can be brought so that he can be transferred to another facility. You will note that this is even against the patient's will, because the patient willingly came to War Memorial Hospital to seek health services, but because of these wrangles, he has to be transferred to another hospital at another expense. I've just been talking to another person who has come to visit their loved one, their patient. They have found the patient has also been transferred. They don't know where the patient was, and he was also in ICU. I can tell you as LSK, we are collecting evidence on possible violation on human rights, because the right to health care is a constitutional right and it will not be violated by anyone.
Tusalie na hospitali hiyo. Mzozo wa umiliki wa shamba la hospitali ya War Memorial mjini Nakuru unazidi kutokota baada ya maafisa wa polisi wakishirikiana na askari wa kaunti kuwazuia wagonjwa kuingia kwenye hospitali hiyo kupokea matibabu. Hii ni baada ya watu 5 wakiwemo wakurugenzi wawili wa hospitali hiyo kukamatwa siku ya Ijumaa kwa madai ya kuwa na stakabadhi gushi za ukodishaji wa shamba hilo la ekari 25. Mwanahabari wetu George Keru ana uketo wa taarifa hiyo.
Amefuruta mgonjwa kutoka kwa dialysis machine.
Askari mmoja wa kaunti anadaiwa kuvuruga shughuli za matibabu, haswa mgonjwa wa figo aliyekuwa akipokea huduma ya kusafisha figo.
I was not even feeling well. So when I came at the gate, they stopped me. They did not allow me to come in. After one of the nurses came and talked to them, one of the askaris allowed me to come in. But immediately they followed me up. When I'm in the machine, they want to get me out.
Anatuambia ati wameambiwa if any patient is admitted, kazi imeenda. So now he has opted ang'oe mgonjwa kwa machine.
Wauguzi walilazimika kuingilia kati.
Alijaribu kunitoa kwa mashini, kunivuruta, but the nurses wakanisaidia. Wakamwambia watoke. When the nurses walisema wanaanza kumrecord, akatoroka.
Mama tuongea.
Hali ilikuwa hiyo kwa familia ya Bethuel Kemani iliyofika kumtembelea jamaa yao aliyelazwa katika hospitali hii.
Nilikuja hapa saa 4. Tukaambiwa tuwezi ingia huko. Mpaka tungoje saa 7. Saa 7 ikafika, tukasema kuingia huku tena ni kila mtu aingie moja moja.
Wagonjwa wanaofika katika hospitali hii ya Memorial kutafuta matibabu wanalazimika kwenda kwingineko kutafuta huduma kutokana na sitofahamu inayoendelea.
Watu wanarudishwa, wenye wanakuja kama wagonjwa wanaambiwa hapana, endeni huko ile hospitali iko pale. Lakini hapa hapana. Hapa kunatakiwa kutibiwa wenye wako ndani. Wakimalizika watolewe. Sijui ni kufungwe, sijui ni kufanywe nini. Sasa hiyo ndio tunashinda.
Mama huyu mjamzito anayetarajia kujifungua wiki ijayo alifika hapa kutaka kupewa ratiba ya kujifungua, ila alirudishwa na askari wa kaunti waliokuwa wanalinda lango kuu la kituo hicho. Awali hii leo watu 5 wakiwemo wakurugenzi wawili wa kituo hiki, maafisa wawili kutoka Wizara ya Ardhi na sorovea mmoja walikana mashtaka 12 waliosomewa baada ya kufikishwa mbele ya hakimu mkuu Elizabeth Juma katika mahakama ya Nakuru. Chama cha mawakili Nakuru kimekandamiza hatua ya kaunti ya Nakuru kuzuia utoaji wa huduma katika hospitali hiyo kufuatia mzozo huo wa umiliki wa ardhi hiyo.
The county should get to know that Article 43 of the Constitution overrides the kind of interest they have with regards to that hospital.
There is in existence court orders barring county government of Nakuru from entering, remaining, or in any other way interfering with the management of Nakuru War Memorial Hospital.
Kesi hiyo itatajwa Februari tarehe 5. George Keru, NTV, katika kaunti ya Nakuru.
Kutoka kwenye kaunti hiyo ya Nakuru sasa tuingilie masuala ya siasa. Naibu wa Rais Rigathi Gachagua anasema kwamba vita vya kisiasa vinavyoonekana mlimani Kenya ni vya kubomoa mlima badala ya kuondoa umaskini. Gachagua amezungumza haya katika kikao maalum na madiwani wa kaunti ya Nyandarua ambao amepitisha sheria ya kudhibiti ununuzi wa utumiaji wa pombe katika kaunti hiyo ya Nyandarua.
Mimi sitaki kusema mambo mingi, ile siasa naendelea, mwachana na siasa. Kazi ni hii. Let me say, those who want to lead Hii vijana wakikufa wote utaongoza nani? Come, kwanza tuokoe generation. Then unaweza kujipanga nao huko mbele, isn't it? If these young people are all dead, wamepoteza vitambulisho, wanalala kwa mtaro, wewe unataka kuongoza, utaongoza hawa, utaongoza nani? There will be nobody to lead. Let us first preserve this generation. And let us not be transfixed with childish politics of succession, of elections. We have barely come from elections. 1.5 years. People want service. Watu wanataka kuhudumiwa, watu wanataka kujua mambo ya barabara, mambo ya ukulima, mambo ya stima, mambo ya maziwa. Sasa mambo ya uchaguzi ni tuachane na hiyo maneno. I want to appeal to everybody, more so in our region, which people look a little bit confused.
Sasa ninayo taarifa ya Dende Nyoro. Mbunge wa Kiharo Dende Nyoro ametoa wito kwa jamii ya Wakamba kurejesha uhusiano mwema wa kisiasa uliokuwepo kati ya jamii yao na ile ya Gikuyu. Akizungumza katika shule ya upili ya Kiomo huko Mwingi Magharibi, kaunti ya Kitui, Dende ameonekana kupigia debe mchakato wa Kenya Kwanza kuchimbua jamii hiyo ya kisiasa. Eneo hilo linatawaliwa na chama cha Wiper kinachoongozwa na kinara mwenza wa Azimio Kalonzo Musyoka. Mwenyekiti huyo wa kamati ya bajeti pia ameahidi kushinikiza kukamilishwa kwa barabara ya Kibwezi kwenda Kitui iliyokwama. Nyoro amesema kuwa barabara hiyo iliyosalia kilomita 26 itajumuishwa kwenye bajeti ya ziada ya mwaka huu mnamo Februari.
Hiyo barabara ambayo tunaongea hapa kwa sasa inatoka huko Kibwezi, Kitui, Kabati, Migwani, Bodoni. Tumesumbuliwa sana. We are socially, economically and even everything dead without that road. Mimi nataka kukusii, tukitoka hapa tuende tukae na rais, zile kilomita ambazo zilibaki 27 of them tuikamilishe, na wananchi watafurahi sana.
Yani vile mimi nasikiaga nikiwa na CNN, nasikiaga kama ni my twin brother. Mimi nataka niseme ile upendo yetu irudi na Mungu atusaidie tukae kwa amani kama jamii moja. Mimi ningeomba kama sisi wote viongozi tuendelee kuonyesha watu wote wa Kenya that the differences that are political are actually man-made. Kenyans love each other. Kenyans love unity. Kenyans can live together. Sisi wenyewe kama wanasiasa tukiweka ukabila kando na tukiweka utegano kando. And when Kenya is united, when Kenya is one country, we are able to be homogeneous, we are able to be one people, we are able to accelerate the growth of our economy as one united people.
Zinaitwa siasa. Kuna mchamko wa ugonjwa wekundu wa macho mjini Mombasa ambao wataalamu wa afya wanaita red eye kwa lugha ya Kimombo. Ugonjwa huo umesambaa kiasi kwamba idadi ya watu wanaofika hospitalini kutafuta matibabu inaongezeka kila kuchapo. Maafisa wa afya Mombasa wanasema hali hiyo inasababishwa na bakteria pamoja na virusi vinavyosambaa hewani. Wakazi sasa wametakiwa kuchukua tahadhari na kudumisha usafi, ikiwemo kunawa mikono kwa sabuni kila mara, watu kuepuka kwa mkuana kwa mikono, pamoja na kujizuia kuguza macho au hata kuwakaribia walioambukizwa na maradhi hayo. Wenye dalili za ugonjwa huo wametakiwa kufika hospitalini kupata matibabu ya haraka iwezekanavyo. Ugonjwa huo umenikumbusha siku za COVID. Nashukuru Mungu. Kiwango kikubwa cha maskini katika familia za wengi wanaoishi na ugonjwa wa ukimwi katika eneo la Mtito Andei Makueni kimewalazimu wagonjwa wengi kususia dawa za kupunguza makali ya ukimwi kutokana na ukosefu wa chakula. Yamkini juhudi za kutoa msaada wa dawa za kupunguza makali ya ukimwi zinaambulia patupu, kwani wanaoishi na virusi vya HIV wanatatizika na athari za kumeza dawa wakiwa na njaa, mbali na kwamba lishe bora ni sehemu ya matibabu. Dan Kauna anatuletea taarifa hii.
Huu ni mji wa Mtito Andei. Una umaarufu zaidi kama kituo kikuu cha biashara katikati ya barabara ya Nairobi kuelekea Mombasa. Ila jinamizi la umaskini limeng'ata baadhi ya wenyeji na kuleta matatizo zaidi.
Kulikuwa na changamoto nyingi sana ambazo za watoto wa chini ya miaka 18 ambao wako maskini sana, mayatima, na wengine wametoka kwa wazazi wa mmoja, single parents. There's influence of young girls, young children, young mothers, and even boys being lured into prostitution. This prostitution is the main cause of HIV infection and spread in Mtito Andei.
Kutokana na hali ya Mtito Andei kama kituo cha mapumziko wakati wa safari ndefu, madereva wa malori ya safari ndefu hutajwa miongoni mwa wanaochangia sana kusambaa kwa virusi kutokana na mikutano yao na watu wa matabaka tofauti wakiwa safarini.
The businesses that we have here, they are affecting us negatively because we are now getting new infections. We are getting infections by people who don't reside here.
Wengi wa wanaoathiriwa katika mji huu hususia kumeza dawa za kupunguza makali ya ukimwi, yani ARVs, kutokana na uhaba wa chakula, kwani tumbo tupu lina madhara makali kwa dawa hizi, mbali na kwamba lishe bora ni sehemu ya matibabu. Lakini hii inawahatarisha zaidi hasa watoto.
Nyumbani hakuna kitu, yaishi na nyanya huyu ni mzee, hana kazi. So unapata wanashinda njaa, wanalala njaa. So kunywa ile dawa inakuwa mzigo, inakuwa tatizo sana, maana tumbo halina kitu.
Mashirika ya kijamii kama vile shirika la Matendo ya Huruma yamekuwa yakiungana na jamii na kutekeleza kampeni za uhamasishaji na utoaji wa msaada kwa lengo la kukomesha kusambaa kwa ukimwi hasa katika maeneo yanayokumbwa na umaskini wa kupindukia. Dan Kauna, NTV.
Tuendelee na taarifa za afya. Wizara ya Afya imezindua mikakati ya kupambana na ugonjwa wa kifua kikuu ikilenga kumaliza ugonjwa huo ifikapo mwaka 2030. Mpango huo umetokana na takwimu za kusikitisha kuhusu wagonjwa ambao hawajatambuliwa na ambao hajatibiwa kifua kikuu humu nchini. Akizungumza wakati wa uzinduzi huo, Katibu wa Afya Mary Muthoni amesema kuwa Kenya ni miongoni mwa nchi 30 ambazo zimekumbwa na janga la kifua kikuu kote ulimwenguni. Margaret Kimathi na taarifa hiyo kwa kina.
3, 2, 1.
Uzinduzi wa mpango huo wa miaka 5 ulifanyika katika majengo ya Afya House jijini Nairobi. Hapa washikadau katika sekta ya afya walijitokeza kwa nia ya kutokomeza ugonjwa huu ifikapo mwaka wa 2030. Kulingana na Katibu wa Afya Mary Muthoni, mpango huo umebuniwa kwa kutumia takwimu za watu waliougua kifua kikuu ambazo zinaonyesha kwamba ugonjwa huo unaenea kwa kasi mno.
Even those who are dying of HIV, most of them do not treatable. Why not? If it is preventable, why not?
Kulingana na takwimu kutoka Shirika la Afya Ulimwenguni WHO, mwaka wa 2022, takriban watu milioni 10.6 waliugua kifua kikuu kote ulimwenguni. Kati yao milioni 5.8 ni wanaume, huku milioni 3.5 wakiwa wanawake na milioni 1.3 ni watoto. Takwimu hizo zinaonyesha kwamba Kenya ilirekodi visa 90,841 vya kifua kikuu mnamo mwaka wa 2022, ongezeko kubwa kutoka kwa visa 77,854 vilivyoripotiwa mwaka wa 2021. Mwaka huo huo watu 17,000 walifariki kutokana na kifua kikuu.
Alarming as this figure is, it represents only 68% of the estimated 133,000 TB cases that were likely to emerge that year, leaving 32% undiagnosed and untreated.
The strategic plan aligns seamlessly with the global WHO and the TB strategy, whose overarching goal is to reduce the incidence of TB, preventing death from the disease.
Akizungumza wakati wa uzinduzi huo, mkurugenzi wa USAID John Kunle alisema kuwa ni hatua muhimu kuelekea kutokomeza TB nchini Kenya kwa kuzingatia hatua iliyofikiwa hadi sasa katika ugunduzi bora wa maambukizi na matokeo bora ya matibabu.
In Kenya, TB remains a significant concern for public health. Regardless, we've been making significant progress in reducing its impact. The gap in detecting cases is getting smaller, and we've seen significant improvements in the outcomes for TB patients.
Uzinduzi huu unaambatana na kuanzishwa kwa mpango unaozingatia huduma ya afya kwa wote ambao umewezesha kuajiriwa kwa wahudumu wa afya ya jamii 100,000. Margaret Kimathi, NTV.
Kwa taarifa hiyo yake Margaret Kimathi tunachukua mapumziko mafupi, lakini tukirejea ninazo taarifa kemkem ambazo tumekuandalia pamoja na taarifa za spoti.
There's a kind of bank assurance intermediary that really allows you to relax because you know you'll be good. The kind that gives you access to a good range of insurance solutions from a good variety of insurance partners at good affordable premiums. That's Coop Bank Assurance Intermediary for you. Get covered real good through Coop Bank Assurance Intermediary.
In the hustle and bustle of life, one thing matters the most: your financial well-being. No matter where you are from or where you're going, financial success is a journey we all share. Introducing IG Sacco, your partner in financial growth. Join us and together we'll unlock a world of opportunities with a wide range of savings accounts and expert guidance. You'll learn the art of saving and financial management. It's time to let your money work for you. Start saving, start investing, start growing with IG Sacco. All you need is a duly filled form, copy of your recent payslip, copy of your ID alongside your original one, and your KRA PIN. Visit our website www.igsaccolimited.co.ke to become a member today and take control of your financial future. IG Sacco, our investment, our growth.
There's a kind of bank assurance intermediary that really allows you to relax because you know you'll be good. That's Coop Bank Assurance Intermediary for you. Get covered real good through Coop Bank Assurance Intermediary.
Karibu tena mtazamaji, tuendelee na taarifa zetu za NTV ya dhuhuri. Mbunge wa Mumias Mashariki Peter Salasi amefika katika makao makuu ya tume maadili na kupambana na ufisadi EACC kuhojiwa na kuandikisha taarifa kuhusiana na tuhuma za kushambulia na kumjeruhi mwakilishi wa wadi wa Malaha Isongo Peter Walunya. Mawakili wa Salasi wameshikilia kuwa EACC haifai kufuatilia kesi hiyo na kutaka taarifa kutoka kwa Salasi, kwani kesi hiyo sasa iko katika mahakama ya Mumias. Mawakili hao walishikilia kuwa mahakama hiyo ilitoa agizo la kuzuia mbunge huyo kuzungumzia swala hilo. Baadaye ameruhusiwa kuondoka huko EACC akiapa kuendelea kuchunguza kisa hicho.
He is currently before investigators to give his side of the story, and based on the outcome of the probe, then the commission will determine if there was indeed a violation of the law. The conduct of state officials is governed by the law, and therefore it is incumbent upon all the state officials to conduct themselves, whether in public life or in their private life, in a manner that accords to the standards.
I'm the only member of parliament ama kiongozi wa kwanza atikuletwa mbele ya EACC na maneno ya assault, allegation ya assault. Na maneno ya assault na conduct na mambo ya ethics, hiyo ni maneno ya appointing authority. Na appointing authority ya maneno ya kuangalia menendo ya mbunge ni mwananchi ndio yako na nguvu ya hiyo maneno. So kwa hivyo ndio tunasema ya kwamba sisi tutaheshimu katiba na tutaheshimu katiba, lakini vitengo ya serikali, we will not accept any institution to intimidate other hardworking young people like Peter Salasya.
Naitwa Peter Salasya. Muungano wa madaktari nchini KMPDU umeandaa vikao vya wanachama wake kaskazini mwa bonde la Ufa ili kuelezea serikali za kaunti kuhusu baadhi ya malalamishi ya madaktari katika maeneo hayo. Miongoni mwa masuala yanayowasibu madaktari kulingana na muungano huo ni mbinu ya serikali ya kuwatoza ushuru madaktari kwa kutumia ankara za TIMS, ilhali idadi kubwa ya wagonjwa hutumia bima mbalimbali za afya kulipia huduma. Wakati huo muungano huo umetoa notisi ya siku 21 kabla ya mgomo wa madaktari katika kaunti ya Uasin Gishu kulalamikia uchache wa madaktari, kutopandishwa vyeo kwa waliopo, pamoja na kile wanadai ni mazingira duni ya kazi. Vilevile ameishtaki serikali ya Elgeyo Marakwet kwa kupunguza mishahara ya madaktari kinyume cha sheria.
We are saying we are giving Uasin Gishu County a 21-day strike notice to take action on this. In Elgeyo Marakwet, we have spoken out very clearly that the issue is they have decided to reduce salary of doctors by half. So it's actually exploitation. They're actually committing a crime. So we are from here headed to that particular county to actually talk with doctors and take next course of action. We have already taken them to court. The last thing which is very clear is that on the part of tax, there is a requirement now that an invoice of any services offered by the doctor or by any person be uploaded in the e-TIMS. We have a situation where doctors offer services to the patients, and the payment by insurance company takes up to 2 years, some even up to 3 years. And therefore, in this regard, who then bears the burden of paying the tax? It means that the doctor will be robbed. It means that the doctors will go to demand for cash payment from the patients. And therefore, the KRA has to get a mechanism to deal with this issue for doctors differently from other professionals.
Mtazamaji, kutokana na changamoto za mara kwa mara za utovu wa usalama na maathari za mabadiliko ya tabia nchi kama vile kiangazi, balaa njaa na ushindani wa kupigania rasilimali katika baadhi ya jamii hasimu katika eneo la kaskazini mwa bonde la Ufa, serikali kupitia mamlaka ya ustawi wa maeneo bonde la Kerio KVDA imetoa ufadhili wa shilingi milioni 700 katika maeneo kame ya wafugaji kuanzisha miradi ya maendeleo ya kijamii pamoja na kukarabati asasi ambazo zimeathirika na visa vya ujahili. Swala la ujahili limekuwa tishio kwa amani ya kuathiri miradi ya maendeleo kwenye maeneo ya mpaka kaunti hiyo ya Pokot Magharibi na kufanya wakazi kukosa makao. Miradi hiyo inatarajiwa kuimarisha usalama na kupunguza mizozo, mbali na kuwatia moyo wafugaji kutathmini kilimo ili kunadi usalama na uzalishaji wa chakula katika eneo hilo. Kati ya miradi ambayo inalengwa ni ile ya maji, utoshelezaji wa chakula pamoja na ukarabati wa ikulu ndogo ya Takwel kwa gharama ya shilingi milioni 230. Unyunyiziaji maji mashamba hasa utafanikishwa kwenye miradi ya Lomut na Weiwei.
KVDA mandate is to work with the people in this northern part of the region for issues that regards sustainable development. And today I've led a team to visit a proposed site for a state lodge.
In this current financial year, we have about 700 million earmarked for several programs within this particular region. Mainly water supply to households and for livestock and wildlife, because in this particular in ASAL's areas, water is very key for sustainable development.
Tazamaji, serikali imetangaza mpango wa kuweka mikakati mahususi kuhakikisha mila na tamaduni za jamii ya kigeni zinalindwa kwa lengo la kuimarisha utangamano wa jamii humu nchini. Akizungumza kwenye hafla ya kitamaduni ya jamii ya Wahindi eneo la Westlands hapa Nairobi, Waziri wa Utumishi wa Umma Moses Kuria amesema ipo haja ya serikali kuimarisha uhusiano wa mataifa ya kigeni ulimwenguni ili kuimarisha sekta kama vile biashara kupitia uigaji na mila. Aidha, waziri huyo ameipongeza jamii ya Wahindi kwa kuonesha uzalendo, huku akiahidi kwamba serikali itazidi kuimarisha uhusiano thabiti na taifa la India kwa manufaa ya wananchi wa mataifa haya mawili.
President Biden
The government of Kenya is a signatory for all the international conventions for the preservation of culture and for the preservation of all our institutions of heritage, religious heritage and cultural heritage. And in our government, it is our belief that all religions are important and all religions are equal. And so therefore, all religions respect and they represent part of human dignity. The Indian community in Kenya has been part of the history of this country. And now, when we are building this country together, the Indian community has been right at the center of the struggles of this country.
Tuelekee Kamulu. Familia moja huko Kamulu, Nairobi inatafuta haki baada ya kundi la vijana kuingia shambani mwao na kuanza kukatakata mazao shambani, shamba la ekari zaidi ya 5. Baadhi ya mazao yaliyokatakatwa ni pamoja na ndizi, maembe na mahindi katika shamba lao la pekee wanalotegemea na kuishi. Catherine Wangoi, ambaye ni mmiliki wa shamba hilo na ambaye tayari amestaafu, amesema kuwa walinunua ardhi hiyo miaka 30 iliyopita na wamekuwa wakiishi kwenye shamba hilo. Vijana hao ambao walikuwa na mapanga, silaha butu, wamekuwa wakiingia shambani humo tangu siku ya Jumapili na wamekuwa wakitishia familia hiyo kwa silaha. Wanasema wameelezwa wahame, lakini wanastakabadhi za kuonesha kwamba shamba ni lao. Wanasema wametafuta msaada katika kituo cha polisi cha Kamulu, lakini hawajasaidika licha ya kuwa na barua ya kusitisha tishio hizo kutoka kwa mahakama.
Sisi tunaomba kabisa wale ambao wako usukani wakati huu waamuke, waone wale ambao ni senior citizens kama sisi huruma, walete ukweli uletwe manani, na ndio tuweze kuritaya tukiwa watu ambao wanaweza kusema kweli tu wananchi.
Huwezi ukaa hapa karibu miaka 30, yule mtu anakuja miaka 2 anasema iko na barua ya hii shamba. Hiyo ni miti umemuona hapa. Hiyo iko karibu miaka 30 au 28, hiyo miti imesimama hapo. Walikuja makuvia miti yangu hapa. Miraa yangu ilikuwa hapa. Vitu mingi wameharibu sasa. Kwa hivyo hii ni gang imekuja ikachukua ofisi hiyo na nguvu.
Ni wakati wa spoti. Ghana ilipoteza uongozi wa mabao mawili katika dakika za lala salama na kutoka sare ya 2-2 na Msumbiji, huku kukiwa na hofu kwamba huenda wakabanduliwa kutoka kombe la mataifa bara Afrika AFCON kabla ya raundi ya pili. Black Stars walionekana kutinga hatua ya 16 bora kutokana na mikwaju miwili ya penalti iliyofungwa na Jordan Ayew, lakini Ngeni Katamo akafungia Msumbiji dakika ya 91 kabla ya Ronaldo Mandava kufunga bao la pili na kusawazisha. Msumbiji inashikilia mkia kundi la ba, huku Ghana ikihitaji miujiza kusonga mbele kama moja ya timu 4 bora zilizo katika nafasi ya 3 baada ya kuambulia pointi moja pekee katika toleo la mwaka 2021. Ghana sasa hawajashinda katika mechi zao 7 zilizopita za AFCON.
But some consolation here, and Jenny Katamo gets his first of the tournament. Missed the opening game, taking all the set pieces for Mozambique. Decent one to the back post. Oh, it's a goal! Reynildo scores! This is great news for Cote d'Ivoire. They're celebrating.
They should celebrate. I've said it before the game and over the course of the game. Ghana have been sloppy. The first game we saw them play, the second game we saw them play, the third game today.
Mtazamaji, Rais wa Equatorial Guinea Teodoro Obiang Nguema Batsogo ametangaza Jumanne Januari 23 kuwa siku ya mapumziko nchini humo kusherehekea ushindi wao wa mabao 4-0 dhidi ya wenyeji Ivory Coast Jumatatu katika kombe la mataifa bara Afrika AFCON. Equatorial Guinea ilishangaza ulimwengu wa soka kwa matokeo ya kusisimua katika mechi yao ya mwisho ya kundi A kwenye uwanja wa Lassane Kantara mjini Abidjan. Nahodha Emilio Nsue alifunga mabao mawili, huku mabao ya Pablo Ganet na Janik Bulia yakiwahakikishia ushindi mnono na kuwasaidia kupaa kileleni makundi A wakiwa na pointi 7 sawia na Nigeria walio nafasi ya pili. Matokeo mazuri zaidi ya Equatorial Guinea katika AFCON yalikuwa kufikia nusu finali kama wenyeji mwaka 2015 wakati Ivory Coast iliposhinda taji lao la pili.
The sensation continues.
What a goal, and you can see the reason why Sue was not in the ball, Kopu was not, and end up scoring another goal, or Equatorial Guinea might end up scoring another goal.
This is how possession was turned over. I'll tell you what, Daniel, no host nation has ever been humiliated this way in an Africa Cup of Nations finals before. This is absolutely sensational. And so simply pulled off to the byline, lays it back, it still won't go in. How much more do they have to do? Bearing down the Italian base striker, taking it into the Ivorian half, punched away.
Marekani Coco Gauff alionyesha mchezo wa kutoridhisha, lakini bado aliweza kumpiku mata Kostoyuk wa Ukraine na kutinga nusu finali ya Australian Open. Marekani huyo mwenye umri wa miaka 19 alifanya makosa 51 katika ushindi wa 7-6, 4-6, 6-7, 4-7 na 6-2. Bingwa huyo wa US Open atacheza na Ariana Sabalenko au Babora katika mojawapo ya mechi 4 za mwisho. Hivi sasa Novak Djokovic anachuana na Taylor Fritz kuwania nafasi katika nusu finali. Kabla sijamaliza nikupe taarifa hii. Akili mnemba, yani AI, inazidi kubadilisha maisha ya binadamu, na bila shaka maamuzi ya kibiashara kampuni za kiteknolojia hasa zinazidi kuathiriwa na teknolojia hiyo ya AI, na ziko katika juhudi za kuikumbatia ili kuwashawishi wateja na kuimarisha mauzo. Miongoni mwa kampuni hizo ni Samsung Electronics ambayo imejumuisha akili mnemba katika utendaji wa simu mpya Galaxy S24 kumfaa zaidi mteja.
We're introducing a new era in the market where you have an assistant on your phone, you have assistant on your hand, and you can be able to do multiple things with this device. So what we are saying is this: we are the first in the market to incorporate AI with our phone. We are changing the way things work in the market.
Na kwa taarifa hiyo kutoka Samsung na AI, mimi Fredrick Mwitiriri nakamilisha taarifa zetu za NTV ya dhuhuri. Kwa wote ambao wamefanikisha na wote ambao wametazama, asante sana kutoka kule mitandaoni TikTok na YouTube. Asanteni sana wote ambao wamefanikisha hapa kwenye studio zetu. Papa Mutegi wakiwa na John T mwelekezi wangu wa dhuhuri hii. Muwe na dhuhuri iliyobarikiwa.
This is NTV.
Step up to more fun and get more than you pay for. Upgrade now and get boosted to the next package for free. Dial *423# or call 0711 066 000 and upgrade to the next level for free.
There's a kind of bank assurance intermediary that really allows you to relax because you know you'll be good. That's Coop Bank Assurance Intermediary for you. Get covered real good through Coop Bank Assurance Intermediary.
Join the Optiven family today and experience the epitome of coastal living at Ocean View Ridge, Vipingo by Optiven, just 2.4 kilometers from Mombasa Malindi Road and a mere 4.5 kilometers from the shoreline. For every 400,000 Kenya shillings that you place as a deposit or installment towards any of Optiven's properties, you receive a cashback of 4,000 Kenya shillings to top up for your back-to-school shopping. Call us on 0790 300 300.
Optiven, inua shamba.
When you're finally released from pain, that moment when you start to get back to ordinary, and ordinary feels amazing. Whatever pain you're going through, release starts here.
He took away everything from you. He took away the love of your father, your inheritance. He took your wife, and now, even your daughter.
We just want to clarify a few things, Miss Conchita. Regarding that fateful day that Harriet was killed. Is it true that I killed Harriet?
I swear that I will never learn to love you, Celestina. Once I get out of this place, I will find enough evidence to finally prove that Celestina and Adrian are working together. I'll make sure that whoever tore my family apart will rot in prison.
And people come in and they're like, oh, it works. I can have ice cream and I'm not in any discomfort. I recommend Sensodyne because it works. It's brilliant.
Micro, small and medium-sized businesses are a vital cog in the engine that is Kenya's economy. There are an estimated 8.4 million such businesses spread across the country. They contribute an estimated 30% of total economic output and employ an estimated 15 million Kenyans. Unfortunately, 7 out of 10 micro, small and medium-sized businesses close within the first 3 years of operations. How can you place the sustainability of these businesses at the heart of Kenya's economic agenda? NTV brings you Thamani, a weekly show focusing on the micro, small and medium-sized business landscape in Kenya. Thamani, showcasing resilience and exploring scalability.
NTV, turning on your world. The following program has been rated PG. It may contain scenes unsuitable for children under the age of 10.
Welcome to Health Diary. My name is Winnie Lubembe and we're coming to you from the Aga Khan University Hospital right here in Nairobi. Now, bladder control issues can be embarrassing for so many people, but what they don't know is that it can be controlled and treated. So today on the show, we'll be talking about urinary incontinence. So what exactly is it all about? Who is at risk and what are some of the treatment options? Well, you'll find out after this fact of the matter.
Urinary incontinence, the involuntary loss of urine, is a very common condition that no one wants to talk about. It is an underdiagnosed and underreported problem that increases with age, affecting approximately 38 to 55% of women older than 60 years and 50 to 84% of the elderly in long-term care facilities. Urinary incontinence is not just a medical problem, it can affect one's emotional, psychological, and social life.
All right, let's talk about urinary incontinence. And what is it all about? Well, to help us understand what urinary incontinence is all about and of course what brings it about and what are some of the options that are there as far as treatments, we have Dr. Bob Achila, who is a consultant urogynecologist right here at Aga Khan University Hospital. Dr. thank you for sparing your time to speak to us about urinary incontinence. And of course, we also have Elizabeth Muiga, who again has agreed to share her story and her journey as far as urinary incontinence is concerned. Thank you so much, Elizabeth, really, for agreeing to speak with us. Let's just start with the basics. Urinary incontinence, what is it?
So urinary incontinence basically just means leakage of urine.
All right.
Because once you have undergone what is called potty training, then passing of urine should be volitional. Right. So whenever your bladder now takes control and you have to obey your bladder, for example, you have a sudden urge, overwhelming, compelling desire to pass urine, and you have to rush to pass urine, and sometimes cannot make it to the toilet. Or sometimes if you cough or laugh or jump and there's a leakage of urine, or sometimes maybe just continuous leakage, then this is what is called incontinence of urine.
Okay. I know when you say that, a lot of people will be a little bit worried because it sometimes happens, right? You're having, a good time, a good laughter, passes, right? Or sometimes, again, like you said, you're not able to get to the toilets, in good time, and of course, urine passes. So a lot of people will be like, oh, wait, but I thought that's normal. It's not.
If it's something which is happening once in a while and not bothering you, not interfering with your quality of life, then it shouldn't be much of a worry because, as you said, there can be circumstantial loss of urine. Or sometimes even in certain situations, like for example in pregnancy, you can be in a state whereby once in a while you can leak urine. But only when it's persistent or when it's now becoming bothersome and interfering with your quality of life, then that's when you might need some form of intervention.
I see that. Elizabeth, let's speak to you. Again, you've had the issue for 20 years, right? Up until treatment
Yes.
was done. So do you want to take us back? Because like you said, your firstborn was born in 1994,
yes.
Right?
Yes.
What happened?
Okay, in 1994, well, I was just attending clinic like any other clinic, and then when I reached the Mater Hospital, that's where I got my firstborn. I was told, Elizabeth, you can go home because the baby is coming out.
Okay.
That was allowed 8:30 in the morning.
Oh, wow. All right.
And so I had to look for somebody to give the office key to take my, and that somebody was my late husband. So after that, I stayed in the ward. I stayed until 3 p.m. I didn't have labor pains. Up to 3 at all.
Okay.
So they decided to induce me at 3.
All right.
Also after induction, that's after 3 p.m. I also stayed until 8:35 p.m. It's when I got my first baby.
Okay.
So I think I had a prolonged labor.
Okay.
And after that, I went home. Years later, maybe about 4 years or so, I started realizing I'm losing the urine, wetting myself. It was not that serious, especially when I'm sneezing, the doctor said, or when I'm walking for about 15 to 20 minutes. By the time I finish the walk of 15 minutes, I've already wetted myself.
Yeah.
Or when I'm sneezing, coughing, or when I'm also stressed, you can also pass urine.
Yeah.
And I decided in 2011 to start something else.
Yeah.
Because now, though it was not that serious still, so I decided to use some exercises to see whether
that can help.
Yes, I was advised
Okay.
by one of my friends, a doctor, to try some exercises.
Okay.
So the exercise that I was to try, you see now also the muscles were a bit loose, is especially when I'm seated like here, the way I'm seated, I can just imagine I'm in the room and I'm trying to pass the urine. Then I do this and so, or when I'm in a matatu, or when I'm just even studying doing nothing.
Okay.
Well, I tried, well.
It did not work.
It did not work.
Okay.
All
right.
Yes.
Yeah. Let's speak to the doc. Is that common? Do you see that a lot? And this is after, after maybe some women have had their babies. Do we see, cases of urinary incontinence a lot?
Yeah, immediately after childbirth, there can be some episodes of a bit of leakage, but many of these tend to improve. But the typical situation is that maybe as a woman gets older, and especially maybe postmenopausal, then for some of them, there might have been some latent injury during delivery, which then manifests itself a bit later. In their life.
All right.
But maybe the advice I would give is that if you're having some small challenges immediately after delivery, it's very, very likely that these are going to improve with time.
Okay. And is that the prolonged labor and if you hear, because Elizabeth says, what, 8:30 a.m. only to have your baby at 8:30 p.m., all this while, you know, after being induced, that is this an issue as well? The prolonged
as I
labor?
mentioned, there can be many types of incontinence of urine.
Yes.
So in Elizabeth's case, what she has is what she had is what is called stress incontinence.
Stress incontinence, okay.
Where there is it's not related to psychological stress as such, but it just means whenever there's an increase in the pressure in your tummy, like for example, if you jump or laugh or cough, the mechanism for preventing leakage is a bit damaged or weak, and therefore there can be tendency for leakage of urine. And one of the possible causes might be traumatic delivery.
Okay. All right. And you mentioned the different types. Stress is one of them. What are these other types of incontinence, urinary incontinence?
So that type can be what is called urge incontinence, where I was trying to explain you might be sitting here and then suddenly you get this compelling desire, which is difficult to control, to pass urine, and you have to rush. And then this keeps on happening several times. And sometimes you might end up, unfortunately, having an accident or leaking. The other type can be continuous leakage, which happens in the situation called fistula, where there's a communication between your bladder and the vagina. And therefore, urine just keeps on leaking continuously, whether it's daytime or nighttime.
All right.
And of course, there are some women who can have mixed kind of incontinence.
Yeah, I was about to ask the same. Are there instances where you can have mixed, you know, of the same? All right, but are the causes different? Because for stress, again, like you mentioned, you know, there might be something. But again, what these are the types, like you said, the urge, or maybe mixed. Are the causes different, or are they more or less the same?
Causes can tend to be different.
All right.
Like for example, for urge incontinence, many times you don't know the cause actually. In medicine, we use the word idiopathic. It just happens, and even if you investigate, cannot find a cause. Usually for fistula in our setup, it's because of very prolonged labor, where the baby's head is stuck in the vagina, resulting in damage to the tissues, and therefore resulting in some communication or a hole. There can also be other causes of fistula, especially nowadays as a result of surgery, maybe a cesarean section or a hysterectomy, and then some injury occurs, resulting in a fistula. But the causes can tend to be different.
It varies. Okay. All right. And of course, we'll talk about then, are there some people who are more at risk of, you know, developing urinary incontinence as compared to the others? And what do you do about that? But for you, Elizabeth, so you said you realized this 4 years later is when it sort of like became a bit problematic.
Yes.
So then how did that sort of like impact your life, your day-to-day activities?
Well, it used to stress me because sometimes when you wet yourself, you're so stressed because maybe you're in a public, you might start even smelling. You know, urine smells. Yeah. So you feel so uncomfortable. Well, maybe you are in a group of women or other people in church, people are jumping and all that, singing. You cannot even jump and sing because you are worried you might wet yourself. Yes, so it affects your life.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you face like any form of stigma? Because like you said, sometimes it just happens, right? And sometimes you have no control, and of course there's that aspect of smell. And we've had a lot of women, or even people just, you know, dealing with urinary incontinence, say people don't want to stay around me because this is what is happening. Did you face?
Well, I didn't face because mine was not that serious.
All right.
Yes, because I knew myself, so I was trying to control myself, especially going to the toilet many times before the bladder is full.
Okay.
Yes.
You had to find ways.
Yes, I had to find ways how to control it.
Okay.
Yes.
I hear you. And Dr. as well, can we talk about, you know, that aspect of, because again, like we said, it's not just a medical, issue. It's psychological, it's social, it's emotional as well. Can we talk about the different, ways that urinary incontinence?
This is a problem which has a big impact on quality of life.
That's true, yeah.
Like Elizabeth is saying, she had to make a lot of modifications, especially maybe she has to know where the toilets are. She has to maybe keep on passing urine by the clock to prevent the bladder from getting full. And of course, maybe sometimes might have had to wear like continence pads because of the fear of wetting themselves. And what happens sometimes in this kind of situation is like what she's saying, there's withdrawal from normal activities. Like maybe something as ordinary as going to church. You really have to think hard before you go to church because of that fear. The other type of incontinence which you talked about was that urge incontinence, because this can completely destroy your life, because you cannot travel, for example, in public means, unless maybe you have to keep on stopping the driver and rushing out. So it can be a very big problem, and the impact is on the quality of life.
Majority of the times. And we talk about women mostly because they're the most affected, by urinary incontinence. But what about the men? Do they have issues with urinary incontinence as well?
Indeed, actually, incontinence is across board. Men are also affected, although the causes can tend to be a little bit different. And it's also not very usual for men to get stress incontinence.
Okay.
But they can also get urge incontinence, and it can be fairly common actually.
All right. Okay. What might be the cause for the same, very quickly before we go on a break?
Yeah, because men as they age tend to have a prostate, tends to enlarge, and this causes some bit of obstruction to the flow of urine.
All right.
And the body's reaction is there are some changes in the muscle of the bladder, which can also result in some bit of urgency.
Okay, but it's not as common as compared to women, is it?
Incontinence is actually much more common in women compared to men.
Compared to the men. All right. So let's take a break. But of course, when we come back, Elizabeth would want to know, aside from different ways of modification that you had to use just to make sure that you make your life bearable and as normal, as possible, what are some of the other options that maybe you had, to try in terms of trying to deal with the condition? And at what point do you decide, what, let's just get help as soon as possible? Of course, Dr. You'll take us through, the whole, what are some of the tests done and the treatment as well. Can it be corrected? And if so, what are some of these options that we're looking up? Well, all that is coming up after the break. Stay with us.
Why are you here? You know very well why I'm here. I want evidence to prove that your grandson killed Alberto. But I am telling you now, you will not find anything in here. Could we talk?
No. No, we have nothing to talk about.
Yes. Well, nice seeing you, though.
It's a shame I cannot say the same thing.
Head over heels.
Want to know the biggest story of the week? Do not worry. The Weekly Review got you covered. For in-depth analysis of politics, business, governance, as well as social issues, The Weekly Review covers it all. For well-researched, exclusive and investigative content, read The Weekly Review every Sunday in the Sunday Nation.
share on your entertainment this new year on GoTV. Bila kulipia extra. Furahia the best sports, international shows, na local shows una like free. Download GoTV Stream. GoTV. Love it.
Welcome back. Glad you're still with us. The show is Health Diary, and for today we are talking about urinary incontinence. And to help us with that conversation, we have Dr. Bob Achila, who is a consultant urogynecologist right here at the Aga Khan University Hospital, as well as Elizabeth Mwiga, who is sharing her journey as far as urinary incontinence is concerned and the various ways that she had to, sort of like modify to deal with the same until she got the help that she needed. So Elizabeth,
yes.
You had to make sure that you don't wait until your bladder is full for
yes.
you to go to the bathroom, right? Any other thing that you had to do just to make it a little bit bearable for you?
Okay, as I mentioned earlier, the exercises, but now, as age catches up,
yes.
the muscles also becomes loose.
A little bit weaker. That's true. Yeah.
Right now I'm 59.
No way! You look nothing like 59.
Yes, I am.
Okay, wow.
Yes,
okay.
So as you see, as age catches up, the muscles also becomes loose. Yeah. So that's now the time I decided enough is enough, because now the waiting was more as the age catches, and I decided to go to the gynecologist clinic and to see Dr. Achila.
Yeah.
Yes, and that was last year, November.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
I mean, you tried since 1994, and then 4 years later, that is around 1998, and then in 2011, like you said, is when you had to,
yes.
try different ways to see if this helps. Up until 2022
yes.
is when you decided to,
I need to seek medical
Yeah.
advice again.
Yeah.
So I went in to Dr. Achila's clinic, the gynecologist clinic.
Yeah.
And here I am.
Here you are, and we're happy that you're here to share your story. So then,
Yes.
what are some of the tests? What does diagnosis look like for urinary incontinence?
I think usually the main thing is just to talk to the patient and let the patient explain to you their symptoms, and it can become fairly clear what the situation is. So, for example, if a patient says, "I have to wear diapers because I'm constantly wet," it's unlikely that it's stress incontinence. But for example, if I'm always okay, but when I jump or laugh or cough is when I'm leaking, then you can start thinking of something like stress incontinence. So the first thing is usually just taking the history from the patient. And then you can do some simple investigations. For example, just a urine test. Because sometimes something as simple as an infection in the urine can lead to increased frequency, urgency, rushing to the toilet. So don't think of big things initially. Be basic, talk to the patient. If necessary, you might need to do one or two basic investigations. And then if necessary, you might decide to do other tests. But these are like specialist tests. For example, some sort of ultrasound or other investigations.
That can be done. Did you have at some point to wear diapers?
No. Even pads, very rarely.
Okay.
Unless I'm traveling.
Okay.
Outside in the lobby.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is when you have to use them. Yeah.
But actually, for stress incontinence, the amount of leakage is not a lot.
Okay.
Because it might just be drops. But this is still quite important. Because you can imagine, as a lady, if you cough and you're leaking even just 2 drops, then you have to be very careful in terms of how you dress up.
Yes.
Because it can show very, very, very easily. So the amount of leakage may not be that much, but still, even a small amount of leakage can have a very big impact on quality of life.
Yeah. So after, this diagnosis process for you, what are some of the things that Dr. told you to do? What does treatment options, looked like for you?
The option was to go to theater.
All right.
He assured me I should not fear because told it's not a long, it's not a major surgery. And we agreed, and he booked for me theater. Came in the morning at around 8:30, and within an hour or less, I was done. I was done.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I really like the way like you're very positive and very optimistic about this, because majority of the time a lot of people would feel embarrassed to even, talk about these and have this conversation. So it's really, really good that you're here to tell people, listen, this is a condition just like any other condition, and it can be, right?
Yes.
It can be dealt with.
Yes.
Yeah.
She went home the same day.
Yes, it was a
Look at that.
Yes.
Okay, all right. But is surgery the only option, Victoria, for this?
No, not really. As Elizabeth has explained herself, before you get to the point of now maybe surgery is what needs to be done, you usually want to begin with simple measures. Like, for example, for patients who have urge incontinence, we usually want to review how much fluid intake they are taking. Because we want you to avoid extremes of fluid intake. Either you're not taking at all and you're very dehydrated, and therefore your urine is very concentrated and irritating to the bladder. Or the other extreme is that you're drinking too much. So maybe somebody is taking like around 4 liters of water in a day.
A bit of an overstretch.
Obviously, you'll have to keep on rushing to the toilet.
That's true.
It's unlikely that in our climate and environment that anybody will need more than maybe 2 liters of fluid intake in a day. And then you don't want you to just drink all that fluid in one sitting. Even if you're taking maybe 1.5 to 2 liters, but you can spread it out throughout the day. And then we also know there are some things which can be irritating to the bladder. For example, caffeine. Okay, so if you have a problem with your bladder, then it's an issue of moderation. We try and reduce intake of caffeine, try and reduce intake of carbonated drinks. And then there are also other things which you can do, like for example, Elizabeth was trying to do pelvic floor exercises. If you're obese, there's always quite a bit of benefit in trying to get into an ideal body weight. And then we can also do things like bladder training. So for example, if you really feel you're pressed and you have to rush, then through some training process, we can train you slowly to be able to try and suppress that urgency and maybe try and push it longer and longer. So there are always many things which can be done initially, which can include lifestyle modifications, physiotherapy, weight reduction, before eventually we say that surgery is the solution for you.
Okay, so it's like the last resort, really.
I don't like saying that surgery is a last resort. It's one of the options, but also can be surgery can be very, very effective. For example, in Elizabeth's situation, surgery turned out to be a very, very effective solution for her problem.
Okay, all right, because she tried everything else.
Exactly.
Like she said, it did not work. Yes. Okay, so came in, when was the surgery done? Last year?
Last year on 8th of November.
8th of November.
Yes.
All right, so just a few months,
yes.
in.
Yes.
And you're here today. So then how long did it take for you to, get to that level of you are okay? Right? There's no more leakage, you can laugh all you want, you can jump all you want.
Oh, yes.
You can take as much water as you want, and you'll still be okay.
It took 2 weeks,
14
days, and I was back at work. Yes, and within those 2 weeks, I was doing some exercises in the house, and nothing, I was not leaking or anything. Things that I could not do before without leaking. Yes.
Yeah. And I want to imagine, how did life change for you compared before and after, where you had to really think hard for things like just going to church? You had to really, do I, and if I go, what happens, and all those things.
Oh, well, it was wonderful.
Yeah.
Because now I no longer think that I'm wetting myself. I'm no longer worried that I'm a cloud of people. Anything can happen to me. So I can continue with my gym. That's where jumping and exercising in the house without worry. That my children will see, hey, there is water on the floor. What's happening? Yes.
Like that. All right, so as we bring this then to a close, Elizabeth, let's start with you. Yes. To all the people watching us, maybe have the same, issue, and they're like, this is too embarrassing. I'm not going to talk about it. I'm not going to tell anyone. This is just me, right? What would you tell them, and even to the society? Because again, like we said, there can be a lot of stigma, surrounding the same, and yet this is a condition that sometimes someone has no control over. What would you say?
Well, I would say, don't keep quiet. Seek medical advice. Visit the gynecologist clinic that is near you. See the gynecologist. And then you go. It will be okay. Let's talk about it through social media so that you can educate our girls, both the old and the young.
That's true.
Yes.
That's true. And it is exactly what you're doing here today.
Yes.
Educating the people and telling them,
Yes.
listen, this is something that can happen to anyone. And also support. When you see, something, or when you smell urine, again, the best thing is not to avoid the person.
No. You should
them,
not.
right?
You should not avoid the person.
Yeah.
Yes.
Help them seek help.
Yes.
All right. I like that. All right. And Dr. what would you say, to the people watching us? And of course, maybe talk a little bit about the cost of treatment, because someone might be curious to understand, okay, so how much will this cost and what is it that I need to know?
They should know is that incontinence of urine is not a rare thing. There can be embarrassment, there can be stigma, but I would encourage anybody with this kind of problem to just come forward and seek help either from a urogynecologist or from a urologist, so that there can be an evaluation and then formulation of a treatment plan. We can't really talk about cost because it will depend on what is causing your incontinence. So the first thing I think is for you to be able to be evaluated, and then depending on the situation, treatment plan can be formulated for you. Yeah.
Is it covered by insurance, or is it mostly out of pocket?
Insurance is covering for most of these things. Yeah.
Okay, that's good to know. All right, Dr. thank you so much really for helping us really understand what incontinence is all about. Dr. Boba Chila, consultant urogynecologist right here at the Aga Khan University Hospital. And of course, big thanks as well to you, Elizabeth Muiga, who again, you agreed to come and speak to us, about this so that we can help educate as many people out there as possible. So thank you really to both of you. For that, well, time now for you to take a look at this health tip.
This exercise is excellent for pregnant mothers because it does not involve a lot of movement. You can be able to do it without any risk of injury. All you have to do is stand with your feet close together, then step sideways as you raise your arms. Go to half squat position. You don't have to squat low. Then go back to starting position as you lower your arms. The other side, just like that. The lower you go, the more you engage your muscles. This exercise is working so many muscle groups. It's working your shoulders, your quadriceps, your hamstrings, and your glutes. So do it as many times as you can.
Well, that marks the end of the conversation today, and I really liked Elizabeth's energy as far as, the whole issue is concerned. And the takeaway message is, it is okay to seek help. And of course, for the general population, support is very important. So in the event that you smell a bit of urine here or there, well, maybe consider, of course, helping the person to seek help as compared to castigating them. We have to end it here. My name is Winnie Lubembe. And of course, if you have more questions, feel free to interact with us on our social media handles down at the bottom of your screen. A special thanks to the Aga Khan University Hospital for hosting us today. Until next time, adios. Adios, amigas.
Step up to more fun and get more than you pay for. Upgrade now and get boosted to the next package for free. Dial *423# or call 0711 066 000 and upgrade to the next level for free.
Akaniambia hii mkebe pia ni kitu ya kuringia.
Hawezi linganisha mtoto wangu na gari.
I had to come up with something to get more of his money.
I've done worse things more than lying to you that I'm pregnant.
Human behavior experts, of course relationship experts, have proved that there's a thin line between love and hate.
Hii love will go so deep even that will go willing to risk. Who is this person?
My best friend's dad.
Kuna huyu best yangu tumekuwa marafiki.
Alinipia bili ya hospitali. Nikaona ya kwamba ni rafiki yangu wa kitu cha kwanza kabisa.
Anajua side chicks zangu.
Side chicks.
Yeah.
Get ready to have your mind blown.
Just say it's your girl Shanti Bobo straight out number 8 na niko NTV na nasikia poa manze.
Wow, Mr.